Dealing with people who twist reality to tarnish your name can be incredibly draining, right? It's one of those things that feels deeply unfair because you're out here minding your own business, living your truth, and suddenly, bam, someone's spreading a story that's completely false. Your gut instinct is probably screaming at you to jump in, correct every single detail, and defend yourself passionately. And honestly, I get it. I've been there too, and it's tough to just sit back and let people distort the facts without stepping in. But here's a powerful truth, backed by some serious Stoic wisdom. Sometimes the strongest defense you have isn't speaking louder, it's choosing silence. Think about this. The more energy you put into fighting a lie, the more powerful it seems to become. It's like trying to blow out a wildfire. It only fans the flames. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." In other words, keep your actions aligned with integrity and trust that time itself will clear your name. People who rely on lies want you to become defensive. They feed off your reactions because it adds drama and credibility to their false stories. Every single response you give can easily get twisted into more ammunition against you. So don't hand it to them. Take a step back, breathe, and let your life do the talking instead. Here's something interesting I learned from personal experience. Lies always have an expiration date. Truth, on the other hand, is timeless. Eventually, the inconsistency of liars exposes itself. Stoicism reminds us that our greatest power lies in our ability to control our reactions. By refusing to engage, you show strength, not weakness. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their negativity right back at them. Let me share a quick story about my friend Mark. Mark had a co-worker who spread nasty rumors behind his back, accusing him of manipulating results at work to get ahead. The gossip was damaging. His co-workers started doubting him, and the environment got really tense. Mark's first instinct was to go desk to desk, explaining himself and proving his innocence. But instead, he did something much harder but infinitely wiser. He said nothing. He kept his head down, maintained his focus, and kept performing at his best. Sure enough, weeks later, people started noticing something odd. The co-worker who started the rumor had a history of similar stunts. Her stories never quite lined up. And just like that, the lie collapsed under the weight of its own dishonesty. So the next time someone tries to sabotage your reputation with lies, remember Mark's approach and remind yourself of this key Stoic idea. Your character is determined by your actions, not by the opinions of others. Trust that truth will eventually reveal itself, no matter how dark or confusing the situation seems right now. Practice patience, control your emotions, and allow karma the space it needs to do its thing. Because, my friend, at the end of the day, silence combined with integrity speaks louder and clearer than any explanation ever could. Betrayal backfire. It's one of those experiences that hits you like a gut punch. Someone close, someone you trusted deeply, does something you never thought they would. Suddenly, everything you believed about them seems shaky. Your mind races, your heart sinks, and you're left wondering how you missed the signs. In that moment, the first instinct for most of us is confrontation. You want answers, an apology, or at least the satisfaction of seeing regret in their eyes. But let's pause here and consider a powerful idea from Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. It's natural to want to respond, explain your hurt, and make them see exactly how deeply they've wounded you. But the painful truth is that betrayal often reveals more about their character than it ever could about yours. No explanation or apology from them can erase the fact that they've already justified their actions in their own mind. Arguing won't suddenly make them understand. They've likely convinced themselves they did nothing wrong. Choosing silence and distance is one of the most powerful responses you can give in these situations. Why? Because your silence clearly says, "I recognize what happened. I see your actions clearly, and I'm strong enough to walk away without drama." Stoicism reminds us that we only control our own reactions, not other people's choices. By responding calmly, or not at all, you reclaim your emotional control. Here's something worth remembering. Your peace and dignity are far more valuable than trying to get someone else to admit they betrayed you. Their betrayal is their burden to carry, not yours. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your strength lies in calmly stepping back, allowing their actions to speak for themselves. Imagine quietly removing yourself from a toxic cycle rather than arguing. Picture how powerful and self-respecting it feels to walk away without seeking validation or closure from someone who willingly hurt you. When you do this, you're practicing true Stoic resilience, choosing your inner peace over external validation. And trust me, karma notices. Eventually, their betrayal catches up with them. Your silence ensures that their actions echo louder and clearer than any explanation you could offer. In stepping away quietly, you're not just protecting your peace, you're allowing life to teach them the lessons they refuse to learn from you. Dodging verbal bullets. We've all had those moments, right? Someone makes a snide comment, throws a jab disguised as a joke, or maybe just flat out says something hurtful straight to your face. In that split second, your heart rate spikes, your chest tightens, and your instinct screams at you to fire right back, to defend yourself, or perhaps deliver an even sharper comeback. But here's a truth you might not expect. When you choose to respond with anger or defensiveness, you're handing your power straight over to them. You're basically saying, "Here, you control my feelings." This realization hit me hard when I first started exploring Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and emperor, once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." It's such a simple sentence, yet so profound if you really think about it. When someone insults you, their goal isn't about truth or genuine feedback. It's about triggering your emotions. They want to unsettle you, get under your skin, and see you squirm. But when you choose silence or respond with calm indifference, it completely flips the script. Suddenly they've failed. You haven't given them the reaction they were craving. I remember a friend named Sam who worked at an office where competitiveness was fierce. He had a co-worker who seemed to take pleasure in making passive-aggressive comments during team meetings, always subtly trying to diminish Sam's contributions. Comments like, "Wow, that was actually a decent idea coming from you," or "Didn't think you'd pull that off." At first, Sam would respond defensively, trying to explain or prove himself each time, and inevitably, he left those interactions feeling frustrated and defeated. He knew something had to change. So one day, inspired by Stoic wisdom, Sam decided he'd simply stop reacting. The next meeting rolled around, and right on cue, the same co-worker made another sarcastic remark about Sam's work. But this time, Sam simply smiled calmly, nodded slightly, and continued speaking confidently, as if the insult didn't register at all. You know what happened next? The whole room felt the awkwardness, not from Sam, but from the co-worker. Without Sam's reaction to fuel the insult, the comment hung awkwardly in the air, losing all its power. Over time, the insult stopped completely, not because the co-worker suddenly changed his ways, but because he realized he couldn't control Sam's emotions anymore. This is exactly the power Stoicism teaches us. It's about reclaiming your emotional control, not allowing others to dictate how you feel. Epictetus, another legendary Stoic, put it beautifully. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Let that sink in. Do you really want someone who resorts to insults or petty comments to have that kind of authority over your emotions, your energy, or your day? Of course not. So next time you're faced with an insult, whether it's direct, subtle, or disguised as humor, pause before reacting. Remind yourself that their comment says far more about their own insecurities than it ever could about you. People who lash out are often wrestling with their own frustrations, envy, or feelings of inadequacy. Your calm silence or gentle indifference is actually the strongest response possible because it highlights their negativity without dragging you down to their level. Choosing silence doesn't make you weak, quite the opposite. It shows remarkable strength, dignity, and self-control. It proves you're above petty insults, confident in who you are, and grounded enough to remain unaffected by someone else's negativity. And trust me, nothing irritates an insulter more than realizing they have zero power over you. Here's a practical tip you can apply immediately. When someone throws an insult your way, pause briefly, smile genuinely, and simply don't respond. Or if you must reply, say something calm and neutral like, "Interesting perspective," or even better, "Thanks for sharing." You'll watch their confidence crumble as they realize their jab bounced harmlessly off your emotional armor. The blame game. We've all met that one person who can flip any situation around, making themselves look completely innocent and painting you as the villain, right? They have this incredible skill for spinning narratives, leaving out key details, and somehow managing to gain sympathy from everyone around. It's exhausting because your first instinct is probably to jump in and defend yourself, to set the record straight. But here's the catch. The moment you do that, you're playing exactly into their hands. Stoicism offers us profound wisdom here. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." Basically, you can't stop someone from playing the victim, but you can definitely control how you respond. These people thrive on your reactions, using your attempts to clarify or correct the story as further proof that they're under attack. It sounds crazy, but the more rational or passionate your response, the more they can twist it against you. Choosing silence or calm detachment is actually your most powerful move. Why? Because when you refuse to engage with their victim narrative, you rob it of its fuel. Stoicism teaches us that our peace comes from internal clarity, not external validation. You don't have to prove your innocence when you know your truth. Letting someone else's drama pass by without emotional engagement is a quiet yet powerful form of strength. Here's a simple but powerful truth. Those who constantly play victim inevitably expose themselves over time. Patterns emerge, and people begin to notice how trouble always seems to follow them. Epictetus wisely stated, "Freedom is the only worthy goal. It is won by disregarding things beyond your control." You can't control their manipulations, but you can absolutely control your participation in their game. Think of it this way: by refusing to react, you're silently declaring, "I'm not willing to be cast in your drama." This kind of silence isn't passive, it's intentional. It's a strategic step back, giving them space to reveal their true character on their own. When you calmly withdraw from their narrative, your absence speaks louder than any words could. And here's the thing about karma. Eventually, the truth finds its way out. Without your reactions keeping their story alive, people soon start seeing the inconsistencies. Your silence allows reality to clarify itself naturally. You don't need to say anything. Life has a way of revealing authenticity without your help. Recognize your value. It's such a strange feeling, isn't it? When you pour your heart and energy into something, whether it's your relationships, friendships, or career, only to realize you're being completely overlooked. You're always showing up, always putting your best foot forward, and yet somehow your contributions seem invisible. The instinctive reaction is often to try even harder, to speak louder, or to prove once and for all just how valuable you are. But here's the tricky thing. Chasing recognition rarely makes people respect you more. In fact, sometimes it only makes them take you even more for granted. This is a moment when Stoic wisdom really shines through. Marcus Aurelius once advised us to seek our sense of worth within ourselves rather than looking outward for validation. He said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." Think about that for a moment. How often do we let someone else's inability to see our worth become our problem? When you depend on others to acknowledge your value, you hand over control of your self-worth entirely. And let's be real, why should anyone else be responsible for defining your value? Here's a tough but empowering truth. Begging for recognition or attention actually diminishes your value in the eyes of others. It signals insecurity rather than strength. Stoicism teaches us that our self-respect must always come first. If someone consistently overlooks or undervalues your contributions, the most powerful thing you can do is calmly step back. Not dramatically, not angrily, just quietly pulling your energy away. Your absence, your silence, becomes louder than any protest or demand for appreciation ever could be. Consider how we often treat everyday luxuries like clean water, electricity, or even Wi-Fi. We barely think about them until they suddenly vanish. Then, their absence reminds us vividly of their importance. It's exactly the same with human relationships or workplaces. When you remove your constant availability, people start to truly feel your worth. You go from being taken for granted to being genuinely missed, and it's at that point that they finally recognize just how crucial your presence and efforts have always been. Now I'll share something personal that might resonate with you. There was a time I found myself constantly going the extra mile, hoping someone would finally acknowledge how much I was doing, how much I cared. But it didn't happen. Instead, the harder I pushed, the more invisible I seemed to become. Eventually, I embraced this simple yet profound Stoic insight. You cannot control how much someone values you. You can only control whether or not you tolerate being undervalued. So, I quietly stepped back. I didn't demand attention or launch into a dramatic exit speech. I simply stopped pouring my energy into something that wasn't giving back. The result? Almost immediately, my absence was felt. People started noticing and asking questions, wondering where I'd gone, why things suddenly weren't running smoothly anymore. And while that felt validating, the true victory was the self-respect I regained in the process. I learned that genuine appreciation can never be forced. It has to come naturally. And when it doesn't, it's probably a signal that you're investing your energy in the wrong place. This is Stoicism at its best, teaching us to find dignity in our own actions rather than in external applause or acknowledgement. Seneca famously said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness," reminding us that true value and self-worth come through trials, quiet dignity, and inner resilience, not from others' approval or recognition. So friend, the next time you feel overlooked or undervalued, don't shout louder, grow quieter. Let silence become your voice, your presence become a subtle reminder of what's missing. Your true worth doesn't diminish just because someone else fails to see it clearly. When you quietly remove yourself from the scenario, karma gently steps in. Those who genuinely recognize and cherish you will seek you out. Those who never valued you will naturally fade away, making room in your life for people and situations that truly deserve your energy. Rising above the bait. You know those moments when you're feeling calm, totally in control, and then someone just swoops in and intentionally pushes all your buttons. Maybe it's a sarcastic comment, an unnecessary criticism, or even just an irritating look meant to get under your skin. It's as if they're holding a match, waiting eagerly for you to explode. And the crazy part is, the moment you react, boom, you've just handed them exactly what they wanted. The instinctive reaction is almost always to bite back, defend yourself, or at least make sure they realize you're onto their game. But here's where Stoicism offers us powerful guidance. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." Think about that for a second. The only reason anyone tries to provoke you is because they're desperate to control how you feel, and your reaction is their trophy. The second you react emotionally, whether it's with anger, defensiveness, or frustration, they win, and you've lost control of your peace. The amazing thing about choosing silence or calm indifference in these scenarios is that it completely disarms the provoker. It leaves them standing awkwardly, wondering why their little tricks aren't working anymore. They throw bait expecting a fight, and instead, they're met with tranquility. Nothing frustrates someone who thrives on drama more than being completely ignored. Stoicism teaches us that emotional control isn't passive, it's your greatest power. Let's dig into this idea a bit deeper. Epictetus, another powerful Stoic teacher, had a brilliant insight. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Just sit with that idea for a moment. Would you really hand someone else the keys to your emotional well-being? Of course not. Your peace, your calmness, your emotional control, that's your fortress. And the second you allow someone else's provocations to shake you, you've handed over the keys to that fortress. Consider this practical approach instead. Next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Just for a couple of seconds. Notice your breath. Remind yourself quietly that their actions speak volumes about their own insecurities and struggles, not yours. Picture yourself standing calmly behind that Stoic fortress, safe and completely unaffected by their attempt to provoke you. Give a polite nod or a relaxed smile, say nothing, and simply move on with your day. Watch how their confidence shrinks when they realize they have zero power over you. And here's another powerful perspective shift. Every attempt someone makes to provoke you is actually a hidden compliment. Yep, you heard me right. They're acknowledging, though unconsciously, that you're important enough, influential enough, or strong enough that they're trying to knock you off balance. It's a twisted form of admiration wrapped in envy. When you choose calm silence instead of emotional reaction, you're silently telling them, "I see what you're doing, but it won't work because my peace isn't negotiable." Stoicism offers us a powerful reminder. True strength isn't in reacting, it's in restraining your reactions. It's about recognizing that every provocation is simply noise. Noise can't harm you unless you decide to respond to it. So, let them shout, criticize, or bait you, while you remain centered, grounded, and quietly powerful. Ultimately, friend, the best response to provocation is no response at all. Not because you're weak, not because you're passive, but precisely because you're too strong and self-assured to allow anyone else to dictate your emotional state. Your silence in these moments is louder and clearer than any words could be. It sends an unmistakable message. You can't disturb me. My peace belongs entirely to me. Silent goodbyes. There's a certain quiet power that comes with truly moving on from someone who never appreciated your presence. It's funny, isn't it? How often people only recognize your value after you've decided you're better off without them. Maybe you've given endless second chances, poured all your effort into making things work, only to be met with indifference or disrespect. And yet, the moment you step away, the moment they feel your absence, suddenly they're knocking at your door, full of apologies and regret. Now your first instinct might be to rush back in, eager to embrace the validation of finally being recognized and appreciated. But here's a powerful truth I've learned from Stoicism. You don't need their regret or their apologies to validate your worth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it." In other words, their regret shouldn't determine your decisions or self-worth. Your own perception of yourself is what truly matters. Choosing silence and distance in these situations sends an unmistakable message. You know your worth, and it's not negotiable. Stoicism teaches us that real strength lies in controlling our emotions and maintaining clarity, even when someone finally realizes what they've lost. There's no need for revenge, bitterness, or even lengthy explanations. Your absence speaks clearly enough. Think about this practically. When someone who undervalued you finally realizes your importance, they're dealing with consequences, not sudden enlightenment. Their regret doesn't mean they've changed. It simply means they've realized you're no longer within reach. Your role isn't to soothe their regret or make them feel better about their choices. Your role is to maintain the dignity and peace you've built by stepping away. Stoicism reminds us of something crucial here. The past isn't ours to fix or change. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things beyond our control." You can't control someone else's regret or their timing in recognizing your worth, but you can absolutely control how you respond. When you choose not to re-enter their life, you're not being cruel. You're honoring your boundaries and valuing your self-respect above temporary validation. Here's something genuinely empowering. Your life doesn't pause when someone else realizes what they've lost. Instead, your life expands, evolves, and opens doors to new, meaningful connections. When you let go gracefully and quietly, karma takes over. It gently ensures that those who didn't appreciate you will come to understand the true weight of their actions. Your silence in the face of their regret is the clearest form of closure you can give them and yourself. Remember, your silence isn't weakness, it's strength, dignity, and wisdom in action.